Hey, welcome back. Welcome back if you watched the intro video or any of my other videos. Hello, if this is the first one you're checking out. I'm Debbie Jo, and I want to talk about friendship. I recently had a really huge friendship lesson, kind of epiphany, and I think it's something that's really, really relevant, especially now. So I want to start by saying that I have a really amazing group of friends, and some of them I've had for a while, some of them are very, very new. It's kind of like they're all at different levels. And I think that's really, really cool, but I didn't always think that that was really cool. So I want to start by telling you I have really struggled in terms of friendship for most of my adult life. I feel like that's pretty common. I've talked to a lot of different people, especially like millennials. We just really struggle with friendship. And I think part of that is because we have this very idealized vision of friendship, kind of similar to the whole idealized version of relationships that we're given from like Disney movies and Hollywood and everything. I think friendships kind of end up being the same way. We see all of these idealized, like fictionalized friendships, and we get tricked into thinking that that's how it has to be, that that's what it's gonna look like, and then we really miss out on some of the truly beautiful and messy parts of actual friendship, like how it really works in the real world. And nothing proves that more than the story that I have to tell. So, this summer, I had an amazing, I thought, group of friends develop. Last spring, we're coming out of all the quarantine stuff. We're starting to be able to get back out there. I had this person that had been in and around my circle for a really, really long time who reached out about doing an event, and I went, and it ended up being 4 of us there, 4 women, and it was so much fun. It was such a fun day. It was such a eye-opening day. I walked into it feeling like I was going to be completely out of place. I looked nothing like these other women. I felt like I didn't behave or talk like these other women. They were all younger than me. 2 of them are moms, I just felt like I was going to be completely out of place. And I kind of was. Admittedly, I was kind of out of place because I let myself be. Because instead of allowing myself to really show up and be present in this moment with these amazing women, I let myself be awkward and look at how different I was from all of them. And I walked away from that feeling like, wow, this was really cool, but I'm not sure that it's going to continue. And then it actually did. So we all planned to hang out again and do this kind of movie night, girls night thing. And we went, and it was so cool. And I remember walking away from that night feeling like, oh my God, this is the Hollywood movie friendship that I was promised from all of the Disney Channel movies as a kid. This is what I was promised. It's finally here. And then it slowly started to fall apart. There was a lot of weirdness. There was some drama. There were some personality differences that just didn't really work. And it over the next few months, we slowly broke apart. And there was one person in the group that I really, really wanted to be more like, honestly. I'm not even gonna lie. I wanted to be confident and to be as successful as her and to show up like she did and to have the following that she had and to be all over the social media and the creativity, and I wanted so much of that. And so I really pushed myself to get closer and closer to her and to put a lot of energy and time and effort into that relationship. And then there was a huge falling out in July. Huge, massive. The kind of falling out where you get a text message at 1:00 in the morning that says, I really want to wish you good luck in your life. And it was like a javelin straight to my heart. Everything I thought I was finally getting that I had wanted for so long, everything went up in flames. And it felt awful. And we ended up talking it out like adults, or so I thought, and kind of like setting our own boundaries. And it felt like a really healthy moment. And I was like, okay, we're going to be all right. Like I got, this is the messy part that Disney doesn't show you, but it's all going to be okay. It was not okay. It wasn't even close to okay. Everything after that moment was tarnished and tainted by the fact that I couldn't unknow what I knew. I couldn't unsee that this person could just throw me away that quickly and that easily over something very small. And I mean, like, I don't need to go into details. I don't feel like I need to defend myself or anything. It's really irrelevant. It's everybody's own narrative, And like, the thing that I realized from this whole friendship, and we kind of tried to rekindle it, and then it was very, very apparent at that point that I had fallen into the exact same trap that I had fallen into time and time again with friendships before. I had become valuable, but not valued. And I think that this is a trap that so many women fall into. Woman identifying people. I'm sure there are even men who fall into this. Like just allowing yourself to become valuable to someone. Maybe you are the friend who has a truck, so you can always help people move or deliver things or whatever. And that's really the only time they call you. Maybe like me, you are a really, really good listener and advice giver, and you have a lot of intuition, you have a lot of intuitive gifts. And so that's the only time people call you. And if you have something that you need, the subject gets changed, or they don't have time, or they're not really able to help you, and sometimes that's true. And I get that. Like if I'm going through a crisis, I don't really have time to help somebody else float in their crisis necessarily. So there are times when these boundaries are important, but when you notice that it's every time, that's how you can kind of tell that you are valuable, but you are not valued in this relationship. And that's what had happened. I was called upon to drop everything whenever they needed something fixed or something to work out, whenever they needed, whenever they needed something. I was their first call. But when I planned a birthday party or another get together, when I planned anything, all of a sudden they just didn't care. I planned a birthday party like a month in advance, and then they announced an event on Facebook for the same day we'd talked about planning my party for. And when I brought it up, they were like, well, it's in the evening, so they won't overlap. And I'm like, that's not really the point, Like, we'd talked about this, and you just kind of forgot. But it was the same day. And, when I got sick or something came up and I couldn't make it to go and make everything okay, it was met with not only a lack of understanding, but outright accusatory that I was doing it intentionally. And that's another way that you could tell that you are valuable but not valued. When somebody doesn't care about what's going on with you, their first question is like, well, how am I supposed to be okay now? Excuse me? And I'll tell you, I will be 100% honest. So like I said, I very much wanted what I thought this person had, right? So in doing so, in pushing and trying to make that relationship work, because I wanted to figure out kind of like what their secret was, I wanted to be in their energy more, I actually actively ignored a really, truly amazing and grateful friendship that was right in front of me. Two, in fact. However, the other one went on for a lot longer. And I think that's one thing we do in searching for these idealized friendships and looking for this shit that we've been taught we should want because that's the ideal. We overlook and look right past things that are right fucking in front of us. And it feels shitty when you finally realize it. Like, I've had a friend that has been around for so long, and on paper we don't have a lot in common. We're very, very different people. But we've had a few conversations recently, like late night, sitting in your car for hours, like not even remembering how late it's been. Like, you walk away from it and go, holy shit, how did I stay awake for that? Kinds of conversations. The kind that just reveal a deeper kind of friendship than you've ever thought possible. And she has been overlooked for so long, and I feel awful for that. I mean, I'll do whatever I can to make it up and, like, you know, now, as if that's even possible, and like get our friendship to where it should have been anyway. But these friendships that I finally come to find, like, they're human. They're messy. They don't really 100% make sense. It's like Bumblebee's flight. Science can't really 100% explain how it works. We don't really get the mechanics shouldn't work, but here it is. And to some degree, that's what these friendships are. Like, on the surface, some of us don't really have a whole lot in common. We've had very different life experiences. We've had, or similar life experiences, but totally different outcomes. We're in totally different places in our lives. We want completely different things for our lives. Like, you know, being moms, not wanting to be moms, wanting to be a mom someday, married, like being married, wanting to be married, never wanting to be married. Like, all of these things are so fundamental to who we are, but also so different between all of us. And yet, that's part of what makes the friendship so fucking beautiful and why I'm so grateful for it. Like, this weekend, the last month really, month and a half, I've been really deepening these friendships and really paying into these friendships with like time and energy and appreciation. And I've never been happier. I've never felt more valued. And sure, my skills get used here too. Like, you know, I'm still a very intuitive advice giver. I'm still very skilled in listening and helping somebody have perspective on situations. I do still have a truck, so I can help move furniture and things. But like, there's this sense of, it's not only that I'm good for. It's the deeper friendship, and it's who I am as a person. And sometimes we might disagree, or I might not be available to do something that they want to do, or I might have to say no because I've been getting colds on and off from, you know, working retail and being in the public. It's been a little bit up and down with my like mental health energy level because of all like drama in different corners of my life. Like, it's kind of been a little bit all over the place, but they never fault me for that. In fact, they say, what can I do to help? You know, I get that you can't come do this with me. That's okay. Do you need anything? And that's important, right? Like, that right there, that last question, do you need anything? That's kind of the hallmark of being valued versus being valuable. When you are only valuable to someone, then if you can't show up or if something is going on with you, the question is like, well, what am I supposed to do? Not, do you need anything? How can I help? And I 100% invite you, you know, this, as I said in the intro video, like, this 29th year for me is about reflecting as much as exploring and learning new things about myself and about my life and my world, and redefining everything so that when I go into 30 and beyond, I have a more holistic perspective and maybe learn some new shit about myself. And I think one thing that I've really learned so far, the biggest lessons I've learned in the last 6 months have been about my community and how important community is to me, but not only how important it is to me, but what it actually means. Because I think that's important. Just knowing that community is important to you is only one half of the equation. Knowing what community actually means and what actually feels like community, because don't get me wrong, I've been a part of many communities because I was valuable to those communities, not necessarily because of me and who I am, and not that they wanted to also be there for me, but because I could show up for them. And in some cases, that's okay. Like as a life coach, my primary purpose is to be valuable. And that's okay. I get that, there's a whole different energetic exchange going on where I'm life coaching versus friendship. When it's friendship, the flow has to go both ways. When it's life coaching, it is primarily like providing a service and getting compensated, if you will. And that's okay. But really, I would invite you to do something similar. Take a look at your friendships, your relationships, the community that you've built around you. Take a look at it and ask yourself, where in these relationships do I fall? Am I valued in these relationships, or am I valuable in these relationships? And how do I feel? Am I getting value from these relationships, or do I feel depleted? It's okay to be depleted in some areas of your life. As a coach, I am often a little bit depleted by, I'm tired after my meetings. I give a lot, and they're not expected to give anything back by way of recharging me. The compensation is different, right? Like there's a financial compensation and sometimes a little bit of an energetic, sometimes I feel recharged by the work that I do, but not always. Sometimes it's really deep, difficult work. And in those, I'm depleted. And that's okay. But you can't be depleted in every area of your life and expect yourself to continue going. Energetically, humans are very much like ATMs. There have to be deposits and withdrawals. You can deposit into yourself, but if you're an extrovert, you especially need to be deposited from others. I am a hardcore an extrovert, and I have to be recharged and deposited into from other people. That's a big part for me. Introverts, you still need a little bit. Don't kid yourselves. You need a little bit, but it is primarily your energy source comes from yourself and depositing into yourself. And that's important. But that's what I would say. Think about if you had to close your eyes and look at a history, a transaction history for your energetic self. Are there more withdrawals than deposits? Some things might need to shift if that's true for you. But yeah, that's kind of what I have for you today. If you have any questions, you can always drop them in the comments section, or you can shoot me a message anywhere on social media. Obviously, I'm on Facebook, Debbie Jo. I am on Instagram as The Real Debbie Jo. And I can throw those in the description or whatever, the linky things. But yeah, if you have any questions, or if you want to share your story, or you want to chat about your energetic transactional history, I'm so here for it. So yeah, that's what I've got for you guys this week. I hope you're enjoying this video, and I hope you continue to enjoy everything else I do. or don't. Whatever. This is the fun part of this, I think, is that it's kind of mostly for me. I'm putting it out there, but it's mostly for me as a record. And I would encourage you, like, I guess this is kind of a subsection of like homework or take home for this video, is like, do things for you. And you can share them with other people. I mean, that's the whole fucking point of social media, right? Like, to share the stuff that you're already doing. But do things for you. Ask yourself what you want first. And then share it with the world. I know that's scary as shit, because it's actually like, then the judgment really matters. Like, when you're doing something for the sake of everybody else, it's different. And I think this is going to be my next video. So stay tuned, where we'll talk more about that. I'll see y'all later.